In most major cities at the time, there were political machines run by party bosses who would use power and influence to aid those who voted for them. When Kansas City politician James Pendergrass was asked if he was a boss, he responded by saying, quote, "I've been called a boss. All there is to it is having friends doing things for people, and then later on, they'll do things for you. You can't coerce people into doing things for you. You can't make them vote for you. I never coerced anybody in my life. Whenever you see a man bulldozing anybody, he don't last long." Probably the most famous political machine was Tammany Hall. While it was founded in 1786, it truly came to its own starting around 1848 by helping a huge wave of Irish immigrants coming to the city in exchange for their vote. By 1854, more than a third of New York votes were Irish. When party bosses began giving political positions and jobs to these Irish, many nativist groups engaged in riots and gang fights. These riots led to general discontent, eventually to the arrest of party leaders such as William Boss Tweed in 1872. But the foundations continued even after the leaders were replaced. Initially, Irish and Italian immigrants were in regular conflict with each other, as Italians, being newer immigrants, were often willing to work for lower wages and less likely to join labor unions. The Brooklyn Eagle newspaper ran an editorial with the headline asking, quote, "Can't they be separated?" with the author asking contractors to, quote, "keep their gangs of workmen distinct, the Irish in one street and the Italians in another, to avoid the constant fighting between the two groups." But over time, the condition of both immigrant groups began to change. As journalist Jacob Riis wrote in 1890, quote, "The Italian scavenger of our time is fast graduating to exclusive control of the corner fruit stands, while his black-eyed boy monopolizes the boot-blacking industry in which a few years ago he was an intruder." And, quote, "The Irish hod carrier in the second generation has become a bricklayer, if not the alderman in his ward." So many Irish had come that they were no longer considered outsiders. After a fight broke out between Irish and Italian work crews building the trolley system in Brooklyn, the paper wrote, quote, "After several men had been knocked down, the Irishmen were reinforced by some of their compatriots in police uniforms, and the fight was stopped by the arrest of 20 Italians." The article then went on to point out, quote, "The Italians will be arraigned before an Irish police justice and will receive punishment befitting their crimes." History is awkward.